years after the liberation of the concentration camps, Greece is still holding a record of the highest percentage of Jewish population perished. 83% of the Jewish population of Greece perished during the World War II. But Greece is also one of the first places that Jews came to when they left Egypt, making it one of the most prosperous diaspora locations over the centuries. Also, only in Greece we found leaders and religious leaders standing to the Nazi occupiers, denying to turn the Jewish compatriots. There's no other place in Europe where to do that. But as Rabbi Cohen mentioned, the years go by. We're talking about 70 years ago. And soon a lot of our living witness will vanish. And if we forget what happened, we may repeat it. So the Jewish Museum of Greece is working as a safeguard of what happened. And not only by collecting artifacts and religious items and clothing and so on, but it's turned itself to being the teacher of the new generation of what happened. What the Prime Minister said is very true. We need to teach our children. And the Jewish Museum of Greece, through the curator, they have established different teaching programs that they train teachers to teach the Holocaust in the entire country. And it's important that that happened Greece is one of the few parliaments that there's members that they still deny the Holocaust. And the Prime Minister is doing a great job fighting them. So I urge you to help the museum whichever way you can. Financially, just spreading the word. When you go to Greece, go and visit, and so on. And at this moment, I would also want to mention one event that's happening at mid-March, which is a movie that's called Kisses to the Children by a Greek director, Vasilis Loulas, which is the story of 5 Greek Jewish children that they spend their life in hiding during World War II. The movie has been recognized all over the world at this point, and it's going to be playing at the American Sephardic Film Festival in mid-March. So if you need more information, you can either look at it on the website of the American Sephardic Federation, or we can give it to you later. I would like to thank all the people who contribute to tonight's event that we don't see up here or any place else, so they're probably in Greece or another place on Earth. From people at Antenna, from the Consul General, the General Consul General, the Consul General, people of my staff, Esmeralda Moscow, and Lin Yang. Of course, they have nothing to do with Greece or Jewry. Esmeralda is Albanian and Lin is from Burma, but they like me enough. And at this point, I would like to ask any people in the audience who are like Holocaust survivors or witnesses to stand up. Thank you very much. And before I close, I would like to all stand up to hold a moment of silence before I get off the podium. I guess at this point I will ask the Archbishop to take the podium with his closing remarks.
beloved and respected friend and colleague, Ambassadors Spinelis, Chilas, Philippi, Consul General, Neopoulos, and Consul, President of the American Friends of the Jewish Museum, Thessaloniki, Solomon Aser, distinguished guests, friends, members of the press, cameramen, and cooks who prepare something for us to eat. And this beautiful audience, which reminds me of a song that we used to sing back in Thessaloniki. We heard tonight about Thessaloniki a number of times, and I felt so proud. Τίποτε στο δρόμο δεν μας σκιάζει, ούτε η μπόρα, ούτε το χαλάζι. Nothing causes any fear to us in our way, nor any storm or any other negative things. And we come to march. And tonight, I have to tell you, we had a memory of very high quality. There are many ways to remember something. You remember something in a plain language, simple people start saying stories, shedding some tears, drink some wine at the same time. It's a way to do that. You might have something else with some, let's say, more theatrical. And you might have something like tonight, which was a high quality event. It started with the prayer. Our beloved Rabbi Cohen arranged for a prayer in which we heard the famous Psalm 23. And since I am sure that many people here understand Greek, allow me to just recite at least part of the psalm in the Greek, the Septuagint translation, because this psalm has been a very basic text, church text that was giving courage in difficult times. The Lord is my shepherd. I wouldn't fear anything. It's translation English, but the Greek goes like that. We heard the Hebrew tonight, but the Greek goes like that. Κύριος επιμένει με και ουδέν με υστερήσει. Εις τόπον χλώρης, εκεί με κατεσχήνωσε. Την ψυχή μου επέστρεψε. Οδήγησε με επί τρίβους δικαιοσύνης, ένεκεν το όνομα του αυτού. Εάν γάρ και πορευθώ εν μέσω σκιάς θανάτου, ου φοβηθήσω με κακά, ότι εσύ με τιμούει. Η ράβδος σου και οι βακτηρίες σου αύτε με παρεκάλεσαν, οι τίμασας ενώπιον μου τράπεζαν εξεναντίας των πληβόντων με, ελείπανας ενελαίω την κεφαλή μου και το ποτήριόν σου μεθύσκον με ως η κράτηστο. Και το έλεό σου καταδιώξε με πάσα στα ημέρα της ζωής μου και το κατοικεί με ενήλω εις μακρότητα ημερών. Psalm 23 in its totality. But we heard it in a reciting way, but with a beautiful accompaniment by the guitarist here. And then we have the other beautiful prayer, musically. And then we have the rather unique three-song performance from this performance, again with a rather sophisticated accompaniment. I mean, that was not an ordinary accompaniment. Could be much more simple. Our guitarist tonight did quite a thing. It's a good thing that his fingers obey the orders of the mind. difficult thing. The original, the opening lines by our rabbi were, as always, impressive and inspiring. I congratulate the idea of having the speech by Prime Minister Samaras in the European Union, a very eloquent, very dignified, a non-rhetorical and substantive address. Sometimes you have plenty of rhetoric without substance. Here you have substance with limited rhetoric, if there is any. And the final remarks by the good president of the American Friends of the Jewish Museum in Greece has been always to the point. Thank you, my beloved friend Mr. Solomon Asser, for, again, your laconic but substantive presentation. And so you gave me the opportunity to conclude this evening of memory that is a memory of never again. Now, tonight, I must tell you, I am here with carrying a special memory. At the beginning of last December, there was a very important conference in Berlin, Germany, under the title of Freedom of Religion in Turkey. It was something, a two-day conference aiming at presenting the need for freedom, not only for the ecumenical patriarch, but for every religious community in Turkey. Jewish, Catholic, Armenian, Protestant, with the participation of significant people from the academic world and from the communities in Turkey. But that was part of the thing. The experience included something else. We stayed in a hotel, famous Bisky Hotel, next to the well-known symbol of Berlin, the gate of Brandenburg. If you are familiar with, and you are all familiar with history, this gate, connected also with under der Linden, the famous avenue, is related to so many things in Germany, but unfortunately also with the Holocaust. So we were next to this gate, and we were meeting in a big hall with big windows. What we were seeing through the windows, the memorial of the Holocaust in the center of Berlin, just a few meters from the Brandenburg door. It's a large space which is a symbol of what happened with the concentration camps. It looks like there are buildings that represent the various buildings that existed in the concentration camps. It's a large area. So I was sitting there looking at the podium, and here is a window. And I have for 2 days a view of this memorial in Berlin. And I looked down all the time. I thought of the millions of people massacred. I thought of some of my classmates had been part of this kind of sacrifice in some of the symbolic houses there. Even my neighbors, Jewish neighbors at the Solid, even the family that was in the first floor of our paternal house, I imagine them being not exactly there, of course, but in concentration camps and buildings that were just symbolically represented there. It so happened that the weather was a weather without sunshine. For 2 days there was no sunshine. It was a gray sky, cold German winter, some rain, and that was the picture. A picture of pain, I must say. So tonight as I was listening, I had this picture coming back again, not any longer as a imaginary, symbolic thing, but as a real representation of a real tragedy, a tragedy that surpasses universally tragedies of any kind. So we are here tonight in a very realistic way. We thank once again, for the organizers. We have to praise, allow me, the Greek General Consulate. We started this kind of event a few years back in cooperation with the select members of the Jewish community. And we continue this tradition yearly in a way that shows more